G.I. Joe. It's been a minute since I spoke about G.I. Joe. And if you know me, you know recently I've been making Transformers videos. And because of this, we have to do the interconnected story that is G.I. Joe. Yes, G.I. Joe and Transformers are in the exact same universe. And right now, both of them are starting from the beginning. So Transformers has its own storyline, and the G.I. Joe have Dukes. So I'll be starting with Duke. If you are not caught up, go watch my previous Duke video. This is episode 2. From where we left off, Duke was on the run, running away from the government themselves because someone apparently framed him for the massacre of some UFO believers. Obviously, Duke didn't do it, but at the same time, nobody is going to listen. So he has to look to the people who no one would think he would look to. This is where we meet him. This guy, who apparently owns a junkyard, is Duke's friend and the only person he trusted enough to pull up to, even while being on the run, hunted by the US agents. Pulling up like a ninja from the shadows, Duke appeared, asking him, "Hey buddy, how you doing?" His mate looked back and saw it was Duke and was happy. They even shared the clamp of champions. If you know this handshake, or grab if you would call it that, you know it's for the boys that have served in the army. While all this was going on, his date woke up from sleep and she was confused to see Duke. He tried to introduce her, but apparently he forgot her name, which pissed her off to no end. So she smacked him and left. And just before they were about to share a moment, Duke shouted in pain. This dude was shot 2 times, in fact. 2 bullets lodged inside his body. Thankfully, his mate had medical skills pulling out the bullets. And just then, we also find out he has tech skills as well, because the same device that Duke was given that he could do nothing with, his mate touched it and brought it to life. This is when we discover that it is a map that tells you the location of something mysterious. And at that moment, we realize that the map also notifies the enemy about your presence. Duke had unwillingly notified his enemy that they were being tracked. He would come to regret that decision. But just before that, when everything was settled, they wanted to grab some food. But suddenly, they were being stalked. Someone was playing music and grabbing machine guns. And just before anyone could react, Duke saw him. This big, hulking behemoth, as big as the Hulk, grabbing onto a Gatling gun and laying waste to Duke's mate's car, turning that shit to Swiss cheese. Thankfully, Duke and his mate were quick enough on their feet to get out of the way. If not, they would have died. The car went up in flames, and at that moment, it was up. Because while this dude was enjoying himself, their life was in danger, and they were not going out without a fight. Going into the garage, they climbed into a truck and bashed through the gate, making their escape. But he was prepared. Using a pair of drones attached to a Gatling gun, he gave chase, unleashing a flurry of bullets raining down on the truck. But thankfully the truck was armored, so Duke and his mates had a chance to survive. But Duke noticed that something was off. He wasn't trying to hit them. He was luring them somewhere. Right now, they were being herded to a kill box. And far away, another trap was set off, because this guy, wielding a gigantic sniper, was good with it. With 2 shots in a split second, he took out the tires, causing the truck to plow and hit a tree. Instantly, the driver was out, but Duke had to protect his mans, bringing him out of the truck and standing his ground. He's not going down without a fight. Never. Stalker made it clear though, "Duke, you're already hurt. Stand down. I don't want to fight you." But Duke, he was with that. He said, "Come get this smoke," attacking with all his might. But Stalker had a good trainer. He said, "Check out this kick I learned," and landed a direct kick to Duke's face. Duke was bleeding heavily, but he's basically the Captain America of the G.I. Joe franchise. He doesn't give up easy, and Stalker knew this. So before Duke could have or muster the strength to fight, he stood over him, side by side with Rock and Roll, and let him know, "I had high hopes for you, kid. stomping him in the face, knocking him out clean. All Duke saw at that moment was black and a bag getting tossed over his head. Him and his boy got taken to a black site prison, and the next time the bag was over his head, he was landing. And not just landing anywhere random, he was put into the pit. The pit was apparently a decommissioned prison, but now used to hold high-risk prisoners awaiting transport. So Duke was high risk because of his skill level and such. Keeping him in his cell, him and his mans, Duke made it clear that they were making the wrong move. He wasn't the bad guy in this situation, but they didn't want to hear it. Duke, you're messing with the system. The system works. You just have to trust it. Angry, Duke made it clear the system didn't trust me. Why should I believe anything from you? Why should I believe the system itself? And just as the guards were leaving, he heard a female's voice. Someone was talking to him. We have a common goal. And when he turned around, he saw a very sexy Baroness looking at him. Jesus Christ. I love her iteration in this comic. She looks like a badass, like Black Widow type shit. So yes, like and subscribe for part 2, or rather part 3.